Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Very good evening to all the people who have joined us from different parts of the world. So, today I welcome you all. Hello, everyone. Hello. So, let us have more people in the chat and in the viewer section to join. I hope everybody is doing fine. Myself, Dr. Renu Mishra, and I am joining you on behalf of research graduate from Melbourne, Australia. And it is evening here. I mean, almost we're approaching towards night. And I'm sure that in India it is 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And please come join fast. And today we are going to talk about on the webinar or the topic which we have selected, that is editing, proofreading, and formatting. And the reason for choosing this topic is that majority of us, we know how to do, or rather I should say that many of us, we still manage to do research, data collection, literature review. And when it comes to writing, of course, it is more or less it is easy for us to put in into the raw format. However, when it comes to a structural format which is acceptable professionally and different places for publication, we somehow lacks that particular skill set. So this webinar is actually aimed for the the practices which we need to follow when it comes to finalizing your manuscript for publication. Okay, so this research webinar is coordinated by research graduate. And basically, as we all know, research graduate, that it is a one-stop solution for your all your research queries. And in fact, if you have any doubts and troubles wherein you needs to you're struggling with topic selection or statistical analysis, even with editing and proofreading, you just can rely on research graduate. Okay, and how to reach research graduate is by approaching us with the given number on your screen. You can also email us to info@researchgraduate.com and browse us on the website, that is researchgraduate.com. Now, talking about the structure of the webinar, um, it will be a 90-minute session, more or less 90 or so. However, when it comes to question and answers, we generally keep it for 30 minutes or so. However, just be rest assured that if you have any more questions which are taking a lot of time, we'll be answering all of them. So there is no hurry that it's only 30 minutes, and no, all the queries will be answered. The PPTs, the certificates, the recordings will be shared with you. So just don't be worried about that. But just make sure that your email which you have registered is the one which you use quite often. Most important thing is that kindly increase your video quality on your YouTube to 720p. That's the specifications, so that you can have a better experience. Okay. Now another thing is that maybe a couple of you might have joined from their phones, so just be sure that in phone we sometimes faces glitches, so just increase your video quality. Okay, all right. Now, just talking about myself, I'm Dr. Renu Mishra. I'm a research expert with research graduate, and I'm currently located in Melbourne. And I am dealing with the teaching management modules primarily with bachelor's, doctors, and master students. All right. So now it's time for us to start the webinar. Now, first to the topic. First, understand, right? In this session we are going to talk about editing. We're going to talk about proofreading. Okay, now, majority of these and then resultant will be ending up with formatting. Now, all these three things, editing, your proofreading, your formatting, you agree or you don't, but that's the reality that when you come at a level, when you come at a stage where you think that, my um, research was very well conducted, I analyzed it very well, I thoroughly checked all the reviews which needs to be mentioned. I did that. However, Still, my paper got rejected. Or if you have shared your thesis with supervisor, so he or she did not make much of the changes on your research side, the way you have coordinated the data, way you have collected the data, the way you have arranged the data. However, the major feedback which you guys receives is on the structural format of your manuscript, of your thesis. Now here, these three things, manuscript editing, proofreading, and formatting, is nothing majorly on your side of technical side of the research, that you have attempted wrong data analysis tool, you have attempted wrong statistical analysis. It's not that. It's about how well you have arranged your work. Okay, it should be free from errors. It is same thing, like no matter how good you have prepared the dish, right? You have followed all the recipe, you have cooked it well, you have steamed it well thoroughly, all the processes are followed. However, you have not presented it well. Okay, so it's all about right kind of presentation. Now when it comes to right kind of presentation, your grammatical errors should not be there, structural margins should be balanced, all the subheadings if required is into bold headings, or head subheadings should, or heading should be in bold heading, synchronized way of font size should be followed, all these, which generally we don't pay much attention to. Now I happen to be the reviewer of couple of um, journals. So there, I have seen many papers where this researcher was really good when it comes to your technical side of work. But when it comes to arranging the work, when it comes to giving a proper structural dimensions to the work, it completely fails. So we do not go into the technical side of the paper. We straight away send it to the back to the author or to the editor for further review. Okay, so that is why, because see, our ultimate aim is that our paper should get selected, should get published, or our thesis should get passed by a reviewer or the examiner. Now for that, the technical side of research you take care of very well, giving all the attention. However, these structural sides get lacks of attention. Now, here in this webinar, we'll pay attention to that. Now, to begin with, we will be talking about editing, manuscript editing. Now, why I'm calling it manuscript? Any research paper, unless and until it is published, it is called as manuscript. Okay, now these things which I'm talking about, let's say proofreading or editing, if I'm saying manuscript or research paper, automatically it is also applicable to thesis, so just take it by as default. Okay, now let us begin with manuscript editing. So basically, when you are writing a paper, so it's very important that its overall quality remains maintained. How? Whenever a reader is giving a read to it, it should look like a proper flow. It should not look like that anything is coming from anywhere. No. Okay. Plus, grammatical errors should not be there. Like for instance, proper usage of second form of verb or passive voice. You should be very well, because research methodology, particular that section in your research paper or in your thesis, you should be very well aware that it does not be presented into present tense. We did never write research methodology in present tense. So that kind of correct usage of grammar, your spelling, your punctuation, whether comma should come, proper semicolon or inverted commas, apostrophes, all these does matter. Actually, it does matter, because many times what happen is that you're writing capital cases in between the sentences. That is wrong unless and until it is a name or a noun, right? So you needs to be rest assured that you have given a final eye to this side of your work as well. So when we talk about editing, so it is basically controlling the quality of your work academically, like the grammar side, the spelling side. They should know. inconsistency. Now, what do I mean by inconsistency? Inconsistency here is you should see that each of your paragraph, for instance, I'm talking about literature, okay? So you should ensure that each of the paragraph which is mentioned in literature review is connected to the previous one. I, as a reader, I, as a reviewer, should not get a feeling that it's an abrupt ending of what is being discussed above, unless and until we are closing that subheading or we are closing that discussion. In case we are closing that discussion also, so there should be a closing statement. So, me as a reader should get an idea that now, in the next coming paragraphs or in the next coming section, I will be introduced to a new topic or a new issue by the author. This should be maintained by you. Also, editing takes care of, that whatever font size, for example, you are supposed to be followed, it is followed unanimously. Like some, it is somewhere it is Times Roman, somewhere it is Arial. No, it should be avoided. And trust you me that this does happen. This does happen that in methodology student must have copied from somewhere, so they forgot to change the font size, though they have given all the kind of citations referencing, but they forgot to change the font size. In conclusion, they are coming back to Times Roman 12. That's something which we as a reviewer will not like, that even before publishing or before sending it to publication, author did not pay much attention to the difference in the font size. That's a very basic, I call it as research etiquette. So I put all editing, proofreading, formatting, referencing, citation, everything under research etiquettes, which you need to follow thoroughly before you send your work to a publication or for review. Okay, so when you talk about editing, so you're focusing on grammar, punctuation, flow, consistencies, referencing is properly in place, any kind of error should be removed. Okay, now we will talk about proofreading. Okay, now proofreading is basically something which is focused more on your perfect English. Now, here in editing, also we focused on this side. Now, in proofreading, we are only focusing on the English side. In editing, we talked about flow also, flow of the material. However, in proofreading, we are just giving a close eye, very close bird's view to the English side of our work. Okay, that's why when I conduct my literature review webinar, if anybody is asking that how to write a literature review, I always tell them that the style of literature review you'll adapt yourself when you'll read more and more of previous papers. Now, what do I mean by saying that? That every author has a style of writing. Okay, now in that, what kind of vocabulary they are using, what kind of right kind of punctuations they are using, so that can be adapted. Similar way, kindly focus on the whenever you're doing literature review, that what are all the kind of papers you are reviewing, focus on the grammatical error as well. This will tell you that the kind of quality paper you are reviewing, if there are much of errors in the work, be rest assured that the quality is not of high level. Reason being because author did not pay attention before sending it for publication, and the journal also must not be of high standards that it accepted any work with such great deal of degree of the errors. Okay, so proofreading is basically you are making sure that you are giving a final reading to the English side of your work. Okay, all right. Now, together, let's have a look on what exactly do you mean by editing and proofreading. So, editing is basically where you are organizing your entire paper. Okay, everything is into place. So, after your literature, I'm expected to read research methodology, then your results, findings, then your conclusion, discussion. So, every content is arranged properly. There is a proper flow. Okay, then what kind of style needs to be followed in referencing, which we will talk about, is in place. Your facts and figures are matching with the content. Like for example, one book I was going through. I was done with the book, and I happened to read the paper on the similar theme on which the book was written. Obviously, that paper was written after the book, and the author of that paper did not even, bother to change the figure number. Because obviously the paragraph, the figure was being adopted from that particular book. Obviously, when you are adapting that figure into your paper, the figure number will not remain same as what is the book author has mentioned. You will change as per your table in your paper. The author did not bother to change the figure number, and the journal did not bother to notice this problem or this mistake. But when I, as a reader, just that paper came into my list, and I was reading, and I noticed this problem. So obviously, that lack of attention was not only from the author side, from the journal side as well. This tells you the quality of journal and well as the author both. So editing actually gives you a very close look on this side. When it comes to proofreading, so you focus on that language side. So in editing, you also happens to do the proofreading as well. Okay, so your language horizons should be very wide with the proofreading. Like for instance, very basic thing, avoid repeating the same words. You should see that when you are doing proofreading, whether my content is being flooded with lot of similar word, as I say, like if you are using the word profit, so wherever I'm talking in context to write word profit, I'm using the same word, profit, revenue, profit, grow, you know positive margin. I should be focused on the fact that how much variety or versatile I am in my language. Okay, that you comes when you are focusing on the proofreading side. Now let's talk about how to do editing. In editing, like I said, proofreading comes as a part, right? So when you talk about proofreading, stages in editing, the first step of yours become proofreading. Okay, now I'll tell you, this is a tip for your for new authors as well, or the people who are generally facing issues, firstly even to write any paper, and when by God's grace or by their own hard work, when they write it, so they happen to find a concern for their proofreading. Okay, now in that case, what you're supposed to do actually is that just take a break from your work. Once you're done with your work, research, arrange the data, just take a break of it. Okay, because what happens is when you're continuously looking at something, you kind of overlook many mistakes, because you have gone through that work so many times that even very visible kind of mistakes you don't even get through. Okay, so first stage in manuscript editing is your proofreading. Like you are actually making your work error proof, and giving proofs of error, that if there are proof error means if there are any mistakes, you are identifying it. Okay, so before you submit it for submission, proofreading basically is that step that which ensures that once it is done, your work is publication ready or submission ready. Submission ready, I am saying in context of your thesis. Okay, so when you are doing proofreading, again I'm saying, when you are doing proofreading, your grammar, your syntax, your spelling, your punctuation, formatting is very basic thing which we will be talking at length also. Just let me tell you, like formatting, like similar font size, margins, all this. Subheadings are in bolds. Capitalization has been done in the title or subheading title. Like, for example, every first letter of your word should be capital. If needed, wherever needed, hyperlinks are there. For example, you are even, this proofreading one should always do for their presentations as well. When you are going for your defense viva, somebody, if anybody is in cases of going for defense viva, that means that, if you are preparing for your final viva or your synopsis viva. So many a times what happen is that during the presentation we need to show some diagram which we cannot include in our PPT, or which we need to take to another website, obviously, which you cannot include in your PPT. So in that you add the link, but you forget to add the hyperlink to it. So go to the right cursor, press it. There is an option of link and add the hyperlink to it, so that whenever you click it, you'll be resumed to that website. That we, in the tension or in hurry, we forget to do that. So make sure wherever added, wherever needed, your hyperlinks are there. Now figure and table of contents should also be like very basic thing. While I'm reviewing a thesis, the conclusion chapter should start from 36 page. It is given in your index. You have mentioned table and conclusion, chapter 6, conclusion 36. Now, when I'm going on page number 36, there is no way a conclusion. This should be checked. 36 mentioned against the requisite topic, subheading, or chapter should be corrected. If I'm saying 36, so my chapter number 36 should start from 36. You won't believe. In order to maintain this kind of uniformity, I actually printed my thesis twice while I was doing my PhD, while I was submitting my PhD. I happened to print my PhD 280 page twice because there was one mistake which I completely, probably you can say that, forgot to check, that there was one page which was wrongly mentioned. Okay, so this kind of mistakes should be avoided. Okay, figure number 1.1.3. So, chapter number 1, subheading 1, figure number 3. So, if I'm stating that, it should also be placed under the figure at the correct order. This much detailing, this much attention is required when you are submitting your paper. Okay, now whenever you're going for a, this kind of this thing, because proofreader work is you, I'm considering you as a proofreader for your work. So you're not like looking at the technical aspect of the work. So if you're giving proofreading, do not go into that context. Okay, fine, this data collection tool, I think I can change it. You're not supposed to go into that side when you are performing a role of proofreader to your work or anybody's work. You're just focused upon the writing style, writing word, not the technical aspect. Okay. All right. Then you'll talk about editing, copy editing. In that copy editing, once you're done with proofreading, then copy editing. Basically, here what you are doing is you are doing sentence level corrections. Each sentence, each of the sentence, you are going, you are reading, and you are making corrections. So, in a way, you are going to each and every single line of your work. Now, what happened is that whether there is a consistency in the each line means your like I said, variety in the words or grammar. First line, it was first verb or present tense I used by mistake. From second line, I'm okay. I need to correct my first line. Okay. Whether I have gone through the standards of publication, which style of formatting is needed. In each line, uniformity is maintained or not. Plus, plus, is there is any improvement required in any of the sentence of my work from the technical side. Now, here again, I'm saying, I am not saying that I am going to change the way I have conducted my research. Again, I'm saying, so if I have taken interview as the data collection tool, that remains it is. But how I have mentioned that into my work in copy editing, I'm focusing on that aspect. Okay, whether I have mentioned right person as interviewer or right person as interviewee, need to ensure that as well. Okay, whether any massive language change I have introduced somewhere or it is required somewhere, that I'll make sure. Whether the tone of my work is depicting the same meaning which I'm ensuring to deliver with my work. Okay, all right. Then comes your line editing, wherein you are focusing on each sentence in order to improving it. Now, for example, if any line is not required, but many a times what happen is that the word limit is what do you say, 10,000, or let's say not 10,000, like 5,000 paper, 5,000 word paper I have is required to be written. Now, in order to reach 5,000, I have introduced any line which probably at that point in time made sense to me, but when I'm giving an overall look to it, it does not make sense. Or probably couple of lines who think that you think that it can be removed, it could have been removed. But when you are giving a line editing view, when you are working on the line editing side, you will see to all those sentences which are adding to the vagueness of your work. Like, for example, I no, the research is focused towards the understanding of the factors impacting consumer behavior. This is one line. Okay. Now, the next line is same thing written again in this way. The research will highlight the factors which will influence the way consumer purchases. Similar thing. Any of the line can be eliminated because the same line is repeated again, right? So in line editing, we look for that side of our work. Then comes development editing or developmental editing. Basically, here you are giving an appropriate structure to your entire work in such a way that there is a flow, appropriate flow is there. Okay, the conclusion is written certain way, the findings are written certain way, the positioning of paragraphs, each paragraph, because what happen is, let's say again go back to literature review, because there is the maximum chances of your positioning errors happen, that you've chosen the variable way of writing literature. Okay, now under that you have talked about independent variables. In between you have spoken about dependent variables, and then again independent variable discussion is coming on, so it becomes a mesh up. Okay, so you'll have to see that whether each paragraph is rightly placed or not. I am following the way my journal has asked me to do, or my university structure has asked me to follow, or not. Okay. Also, your entire proofreading you'll include. Now, again, you'll say that, we are doing similar things or we are doing repeated thing. Exactly. Because your job is to make your manuscript error free. Okay. Now, that's why I have mentioned in the last line that once the manuscript is organized and structured well, can be further subjected to copy editing, line editing, and proofreading. So you can again, once you're done, you can again go back to the work, so giving it to a final eye that whether my work is error proof or error free or not. Because see, it's all about publication. Because You have taken 6 months to write your paper, or let's say 3, 4 months to write your paper. 15 days you have spent into this editing and proofreading thing. You submit it to the journal. They will take again 2 months, and they'll give a review which is based on your negligence into editing and proofreading. Content is fine, technical side is fine, but proofreading and editing is again required with a much way. So please do a thorough analysis when you are talking about this side. So I think by for now you must all be clear in that fact that why we need to do editing and proofreading. Firstly, it catches more of the grammatical errors. It clarifies your writing, helps with formatting, which we will be talking about, fresh eye on your work, and gives the writing the wow factor. Because, see, if you see that you also must have noticed this fact because we all are from the research fraternity. There are a couple of journals, there's needless to name them. You can say that A plus category or, high impact factor journals in which whatever work is being submitted, it is of high quality. Not only in terms of the research the author has been done, the particular author, but also the way that paper or those papers have been written. Very absolutely clear. Now, here, the way the papers are being written, I am not saying that very fancy and very dramatical English is supposed to be used. No, absolutely not. But when it comes to writing a paper, your research terminology side should reflect more and more. Okay? All right. Now, further to importance of editing and proofreading. So, when you talk about, as we said that your coherence and clarity is maintained. Most importantly, your credibility maintains. Now, when you go to any lower category of the journal, you will automatically, have you paid attention that why these journals are low categories or they do not have much of impact factor? It's very simple reason that not only the research is not that of great level, plus the work is also not attached or not attached, arranged in that particular manner or in a high standard manner. Because see, all the good quality journals, very they give a very keen eye on the technical side of your work, plus they also gives a very thorough eye to your writing style, whether you have managed to arrange your paper, your work into prescribed structural format or not. Like for example, very basic, many journals, they asked you to present your abstract. I'm not talking about paper, I'm just talking about abstract for the time being. Abstract in paragraph form, like 250 to 300 words in general, which you do it. But many journals, they ask you to arrange your abstract into subheadings like your literature, your background, your research methodologies, your tentative findings, and conclusion. In these subsections, the abstract is supposed to be organized, but we don't pay much attention to it and we just merge everything. Or even if we categorize this abstract, our literature review is reflecting into methodology a little bit, methodology is talking about findings a little bit, the language is not refined. Automatically, you will face a rejection. And lack of proper editing and proofreading is a very, very common reason of your paper getting rejected. Also, for the scholars, the ones who are into doctoral scholars, right? Their last 1 month, when you are done with your work, then when you are done with the research, data collection, and working on the analysis, everything is done. Your last 1 month should be dedicated to editing and proofreading. Okay, it it actually enhances the chances of the accuracy of your paper. Okay, whatever standard guidelines are being given to you to be followed, you have stick to that. Also, your paper is plagiarism free when you do proper editing. Now, plagiarism, that means you have adapted the content from somewhere, you have paraphrased it, you have given proper citation to it, referencing to it. That means your paper is plagiarism free. That also needs to be taken care of during editing. Because if the journal catches your plagiarism, they'll outrageously reject your paper to be published. Or they will say that, high level of plagiarism is found in your paper. And you will say that you have paraphrased the content, but you have not given proper citation to your content. That you will see that under your editing. Okay, all right. Then the next is instruction for editing and proofreading. Okay, now when you are done with your work, when you are done with your paper, I think very important from my side, this is something which I believe and I follow as well, that just take a break from your work. Do not look at it for at least couple of hours, or if you can manage to do it at least for a day, if it's case of a paper, or a two, if it's case of a thesis, just keep your word aside for a week. Just do it for a week. Why? Because you are stuck with that paper or with that research thesis from days and days, or from months and months. Just sideline it. I've also mentioned take a trip, which is not possible in every case. So just give yourself a break, listen to music, go out with your friends. Yes, definitely go out with your friends, just to provide that fresh eye for your paper. And then, you know, either if you are comfortable to give a editing on paper, do it, or online, do it. Like I'm very comfortable editing my paper or giving a proofread to my paper on paper. I can do on the physical paper rather than doing it on online. So whatever your preferable medium, just go for it. Just change the look on your document, probably. Just change the spacing or the color, just to give a fresh eye to go for editing and proofread. But make sure to go back to the original one which has been asked from the journal. Okay. Also, would appreciate that if you go for a quiet place, because why this point is important to be discussed, because this step, editing and proofreading, is considered to be a very easygoing and generally ignored step, wherein you don't understand the importance to this step and you just casually do it. Don't do that. Okay. And don't just go for editing in a one block. Break it. I'll do literature review today. Then I'll go for research methodology today. Because in literature review, you'll focus on citations. We'll talk about it. In research methodology, you'll go for the tenses use, the form of verbs use. Okay. So that is all. Okay. Then, just a final checklist. Have a break before the final review. So, just go for, like I said, a break or a run or a jog, whatever. Then read the assignment again. Okay. Then clearly read out loud, because sometimes reading out loud catches some hidden mistake which we generally avoid. Then go for grammar and spelling, and then take the final printout. Okay. All right. So there are a couple of websites which I have mentioned for editing and proofreading. Generally, they are, they are considered to be till now top 10 websites for 2024. So there are Paper True, Scribber. Scribber, I think, is a very known name. amongst the scholars fraternity. Inago, Editage, Scribendi, Wordwise, Get Proof, Wordy, Cambridge Proofreading. So there are many of them, and you can actually use any. Like for instance, I've just mentioned about Scribble. So you can actually upload your document, and if there is any particular paper, is let's say for example you're working on a thesis, so you want your literature review to be checked. So you can select the pages, like from page 21 to 45 we need to check under Scribble, and then you choose your time around and services. There are many cases in these websites where you can get a free work also done. Okay, and then you upload your work, and then you track your process progress, and then within the stipulated time you get your work back. Many cases, if it's just a proofreading, like grammatical error needs to become, spelling needs to become, or syntax error, punctuation needs to become, it doesn't take much time. But in editing it takes time, depending upon your work, what is the length and depth of your work. Okay, now here it's a time for break for 5 minutes. We'll be um, back within 5 minutes. Okay, thank you so much. Hi everyone. So we are back from the break. So till now we did editing, we did proofreading, we understood why it is important and how we should do it, and what actually is the importance of doing editing and proofreading. Now, basically, when we talk about proofreading and editing, there is a very important thing to be focused upon, that is to avoid plagiarism. Okay, now, plagiarism, before the break, I just talked about that. What exactly is it? Basically, while doing our research, any status, either as a paper or a thesis, we happen to adapt a couple of informations from different sources. Okay, and that sources can be varied in nature: paper, case studies, books, and all. I'm not categorizing the sources to adopt from, but we adopt different. We adopt information from different sources. Okay. Now, having said that, done, one thing for sure, that is, if the adapted content which we are taking from other sources is not a definition or any code which is being said by someone, we cannot directly copy the content. That is the rule which you should take it by heart. Okay. Now, one thing is, when we cannot copy it, what to do with it, that I'll talk about. Second is, when you will adapt the content, you always have to mention the author acknowledgement, citation. Why we are doing it? In order to avoid the plagiarism. Plagiarism means the act of copying anybody's content. So, by giving proper acknowledgement, second thing, not copying it directly. So, what to do with it? The answer is paraphrase it. Okay. Now, when we talk about paraphrase it, paraphrase means you have taken a content. Just focus on what I'm saying is, you have adapted a content from any author's work, and then you rewrite it into your own word without changing its meaning. So I'll show you the examples in forthcoming slides. So if you have taken anything from any third person's work, and you find that that is important for me, unless and until it's a definition, you'll put it into your own language. That's called paraphrasing. Okay, paraphrasing generally is, you are concising the original work. So if its original work is written into a paragraph or a half, you'll probably try to squeeze the content into half paragraph or so. Again, not to forget, you will not change its meaning. Okay, so you are just taking the adaptation, you're not copying it, you're giving the proper citations to it, and also you are giving appropriate citations, like the details of the author, the year of its publication. Okay, so basically, in order to avoid plagiarism, you have to do the paraphrasing, and the major rule of paraphrasing is not changing the meaning of the content. Plus, in order to avoid the plagiarism, is to give the proper citations. Okay, okay. Then, what are the strategies which you should follow for paraphrasing? Whatever content you had supposed to adapt, you put it into a new order of words. Okay, if there is any complex idea, like explicitly discussing the revenue of an organization, so you can simply talk about that, elaborating the earnings of a firm. Simple, meaning is the same, but a complex idea into smaller pieces. Use synonym or different vocabulary. If needed, you can obviously go back to thesaurus for the same. So, just using a vocabulary enhancement, Definitely will help you. Now, here is the catch that does only replacing words with synonym words is sufficed for paraphrasing? The answer is no. Only just replacing the words with its synonym is not paraphrasing. It's rearranging those synonym word, giving it to the original meaning of the taken content from. Okay, then you need, while doing paraphrasing, because I have heard it from many students that they say that we are not able to do it. So imagine, you need to imagine that you are explaining it to somebody. So you have read the content. So in order to explain it to the same manner, you have to learn it. So you don't learn it, you understand the content and then you explain it to any third person. Right that way. Okay. And do not mug up with the or mesh up with the information. Do not get confused with the information. Okay. Now we will talk about the various steps for paraphrasing. Okay, I'll enlarge it. First is that just read the original information carefully. Why I'm telling you again that, as I told you, there has to be no change in the meaning. Okay, so your original information meaning will remain same. You just need to understand what exactly it's conveying. Main point, that is the theme and the keywords, you highlight them. Then see what can be changed and what cannot be changed. For example, if the content mentions any statistical data, any mention of any area, name of that area, name of any person, you cannot change that. Okay, so highlight that which also cannot be changed. Then cover the text so you can't see any of it. So I mean that means you can, which you cannot change, you just hide it so that keeping that same, how I can change the content. Okay, then you need to write the idea in your own words by utilizing majority of the synonyms or the phrases. You may also change the order of the words. And then finally, when you are ready with your work, just compare it with the original one. That am I, upon reading my work, am I depicting, am I conveying the same meaning which the original author is doing? Okay, so if I say that, if you all remember that in childhood, back in school, a teacher used to say that write an essay in your own word. So here you need to utilize your own word, and the essay is given to in front of you. Okay, write a paragraph in your own words. So the paragraph is given in front of you. You just need to make use of those own word style. Okay. Now, here is an example for you I have given for paraphrasing. This is the original text. The task of engineer is to produce at the correct cost at the correct time, written by Fox in 1997. So this is the text which I have considered for paraphrasing, which I need to paraphrase. So what I can't change is, I can't change the author in the year. I can't change who has done it. I can't make farmer out of engineer. Right. Okay. So what I did is I just restated the sentence and just put the synonyms of the words wherein I can use it. Okay. So Fox in 1977 states that an engineer needs to come up with the right product. So instead of correct product, I'm saying, instead of produce, I'm saying need to come up with. Instead of saying correct, I'm saying right, and the right time at the reasonable price. So instead of cost, I'm saying price. So here, at last, they're talking about time, but in my paraphrased context, talking about price at last. But it says both the sentence in meaning wise, they are same. Okay, so this is the way we actually do paraphrasing. Next example is, if a product misses its window of opportunity, the manufacturer can lose up to 33% of the life cycle profits, written by Alder in 2002. So what I did, paraphrase it, according to Alder 2002, or Alder in back in 2002, claims that I can say according to Alder, or I can start that Alder 2002 claims that 33% of a product can be lost. So I'm saying misses its window of opportunity. It's a phrase they have used. I'm just using a word lost if a product is not marketed correctly. Okay, so you have to make sure that where I can actually have a scope of putting the right context of words. Now, keeping everything in mind, one very important thing which we can't stop talking about, that is formatting. Now, formatting basically, if you have seen that whenever you go for a paper publication, like if you're considering any paper publication, whenever you go for a journal and a particular section of guidelines for authors, submission guidelines for authors, under that section it is mentioned that your paper should have these many words. It should be arranged this way. The font size should be this. The margin size should be this. There should be header or footer. There should be no header and footer. You should have cover page, and on cover page you should have title, author affiliations, co-author affiliation, page heading, citations, everything. So this is what we are talking about, formatting. Okay. So how now here I'm not talking about content quality. Understand? Here I am not talking about content quality. Here I am talking about content structure. So it's very similar, like I am saying when I'm going for a construction for my house, I am saying this side, this wall should be painted this color, this wall should be painted this color, the furniture should be placed this way. Okay, so I am saying that how I'm actually directing that how my house should look like. Here exactly that the structural alignment of my paper is what. So wherever I'm going, it's actually a part of your editing. It's a part of your editing. So you have to make sure that your uniformity is there. So the correct citation style is used, which we'll be talking at length. Citation style should be properly used. Citation means whatever is the source of your information, wherever place you have adopted your content from, that should be properly cited, that should be properly mentioned in your paper, so that you avoid plagiarism as well, which we just happened to discuss a slide back. Okay, so formatting actually includes your structural alignment done right way, citations done right way. Okay, now first out of it, when we are talking about citation, we actually have to take a look on various style of citations. You must have gone through various many. We will be talking about each one of them at length. Now, first is APA, that is American Psychological Association, which is the expanded form. Now, the rule of APA for firstly for in-text citation, like within the work when you are citing the source in order to avoid the plagiarism. For example, you have adopted a work from Thomas' work, how, and you've written that paragraph. So by the end of it, how will you source that? How will you mention that source under APA form of citation? That is the surname, comma, the year of publication. Done. That is the way you will do it in text citation. How will you do the last referencing, complete referencing? That is firstly your surname, initials of first name. If there is any middle name, then the initial of middle name, your date or year of publication. If you know the date also, then otherwise year is perfectly fine. Your article title, whatever the title of your work, then the journal or the magazine title, wherever this it is published, then your volume. So this is the volume. Then your issue, I'm so sorry, I'll go back. Yeah. Then your issue. So this is the issue and the page number. Okay. Now, if sometimes you do not have issue with you or page number with you, it's absolutely fine. No problem. This kind of citation style is being used mostly in social sciences, humanities. Next is your Vancouver style. Now, here for in-text citation, what you do is you assign the number. For example, you have taken a context from a source, okay? So at the end of it, you will give the, let's say for example, 4, okay? Now, when you'll know that the 4 detailing or 4 referencing by the end of your paper will give the incomplete citation, okay? So if I need to check a paper cited with Vancouver style and there is a in-text citation like 6, and if I want to know the complete citation, it's so I will go to the 6th citation by the end of the paper. How do we do it? Surname. Obviously, you will not forget to mention that this number here as well. So your and initials, surname and initials, title of article, abbreviated journal article. Now here it will not come like this complete. Abbreviated journal article, okay. Publication year, and month, whatever details you have. Cited date, year, month, everything. If you have the complete details, then volume number, issue number, then page, okay, colon, and then page, okay. So very different from APA style. All right. Okay. Then coming to your Chicago style. Chicago style also have in same in-text citation, that is your last name and your year of publication. And citation, what we do that? Last name, first name, your year. Okay, now here you put the year in bracket. Here it's not in bracket. Then title of your article, name of the journal, your volume, your issue, and page range. If you have DOI as well, date of issue as well, that is also. Then come MLA style. Okay. In in-text citation, what you do is last name, page number without punctuation. Now here the last name will come. There will be no punctuation, that is no comma. Like here we see in APA we saw. And the page number. Okay, and the page number you will take. So the last name is the first name, your year, title of article, name of journal, year will come here, last, sorry, again year, then pages. Okay, this is used in humanities and literature and languages. Now here it comes at the most popular one, that is Howard style. Howard citation is Howard and APA also. Harvard, I will put it into priority list like Harvard, APA, then Chicago. They are the most commonly used. Okay, then it is your author, year of publication, title of the document, your name of organization of publication, and where it is available. I have given the end text example and within the text as well. So when you are putting it within the text, author name, last name, in bracket the year of publication. Okay, all right. Now comes how actually to format your work. You should know how to format your work. First is your initial formatting. Now, when you are writing, when you are done with the first draft, you should not be worried about formatting because that's just a baby that has come out. The further, the work on its structure will be done later. If you try to format at this stage and because formatting is basically towards done at the end way. So if in the first draft you will start doing formatting, you will not be able to make any further progress in the content technical side. Like any statistical figure needs to be changed, any data needs to be inserted, any figure needs to be that. Okay, so you just in this time, at this time when you are done with the initial draft, at initial formatting, what you are done, what you should focus on is just arrange the right headings in the section. That's it. Just focus on the headings. Okay. Then comes citation tools. You may use also automation tools for citation. There are many. In fact, in your Microsoft Word also you may find there are software as well. Cite reference generator, for example, there is one like reference generator which can help you to arrange your citations. Okay, and can automatically in generate your citation list like one I have told you. Okay, then take help for that. The next guideline is, see, this is basically, you cannot say that this is the step, basically the basic guidelines which you should follow while you're doing formatting. Then you should be focused for your plagiarism. Now what do I mean by plagiarism here is whether I have ensured that any paraphrasing is missed or not. Put it into for plagiarism checker like Grammarly, or you have Turnitin as well. Okay, there are many other tools also. Just put it for that. If you find any plagiarism under that, just correct it. Many a times what happen is that we think that we'll just paraphrase, we'll put it in citations later. Don't do that, and if that has happened, so just do a plagiarism check. Then comes proofread your work. Now again, proofreading we have understood. Just do several round of editing and proofreading. Every sentence makes sense, every spelling is right, there is no grammatical error, structure is correct as the journal asked me to, citation is absolutely done right. If I have written footnotes, numbering of footnote is right, it is into exact same style of footnote which has been required by the journal or the place of publication. If any citation is mentioned or not, all this needs to give a final eye. Basically, what you're doing is you're doing a final checkup of your work. Okay. Then I'm going to tell you some typical styles of formatting. Okay, because these styles of formatting you probably you'll see in many of the journals. They simply say sometimes follow MLA format, so you should know. So first of all, it's MLA format, okay, which is being typically followed in literature or history. Anybody who's doing onto historical side of the work, double space line, your margin between the lines, indent new paragraph. So if you are starting a new paragraph, half an inch indent, basically the gap which you say if anybody do not understand the meaning of it. Title case for headings. Now every first letter, understand, every first letter of the head of the word in the heading starts with the capital like this. Why not this? Because it's a functional word. Of, the, a, and. They are functional words. They need not to be title case. Okay? Like this. Here I have avoid it in capital, but these are in capital. Okay? You may use a popular font size like Times Roman 12. This is basically standard for all. 1 inch margin on both the sides. So this is not actually 1 inch, but I'm showing the sides margin. Okay. Number section you may use of the paper is like one introduction, two background, and all that. Running head of each of the paper, each page on the upper right hand corner, which consists of your name and the page number. Okay. Use an in-text citation within the text using the author's last name followed by the page number. within the text, in between your text. On the citation name page, in the last, write the full name, periodical, in the way you do the MLA format. Okay. Citation should be in alphabetical order. That means author starting with A, then B, then C, then E. This should be there. Okay. So this basically is the typical format of formatting according to MLA style. Okay. Then we'll go to APA style of formatting. Basically, this is being used in your physical sciences, physics, social sciences, management, psychology, okay, all that. Then you need to begin your paper with your title page, which is not a requirement in MLA. That's why I've mentioned it. Your paper in APA format should start with a title page. Again, double line spacing, half inch indenting, like one paragraph, half inch gap, second paragraph. Use a running head for each page in the upper right hand corner, which I told you. But here, which consists of paper's title in capital letter followed by the page number. So paper title and the page number here. So not the author's name, like here it is mentioned. Okay, author's last name, yours. The citation page at the end should be titled references, not the citation. That's the difference. Like many people say that what's the difference between citation and references? So in APA format, citations are by the end of the paper are called as references. In-text citation should have last name, year, and page number. Okay, you should mention P for page number. Okay, as with MLA, use title case for headings. Similarly, with AP format as well. Like this should be every first letter should be of capital, not the functional words. Okay. Use sentence cases for title of sources. Okay. No, Roman starts with a capital because it's a proper noun. Now here you have just you can go for a running link. Now here source name. This is a source name. History of the decline and fall of the Roman Empire. It is into running. It is not like cases are capital. Source name you can go for a running, but R is capital as I told you during my previous like couple of previous slides discussion as well because it's a noun. Okay. When citing insect references, use author's last name and first name and its middle initials. Always use Oxford comma. Okay, like this and in a list. All right. Okay. Then come for CMO's formatting, that is Chicago Manual of Style. That is used here is include an unnumbered title page. So title number, the very first page will not have any number. Again, double spacing, half inch indenting. So place page number on the upper right hand corner. Okay. Do not list your name. Like MLA or APA style, there will be no name of yours. Title case will be there for both headings and source. Like I told you, the first letter of every word. Now, differing from MLA and APA, the Chicago style uses footnotes for citation, which comes by the end of paper. So for you, this uses superscript footnotes, like for example, Smith argues against John's theory. 1. Okay. I told you in Chicago style, we'll put the number for the citations. Okay. Chicago style supports both short notes and full notes in detail. Full note, which you needs to elaborate something, which you so this will appear as full note and this is appear as short note and this will appear as full note. Okay. Now, couple of tips which you should particularly adopt when you are going for formatting of your thesis. Okay, thesis I'm particularly talking. That does not mean that anybody who is working on the paper cannot follow it. Please do it. Make sure that you're using right kind of citations. Okay, whatever is the citation needs to be followed. It's APA or MLA or Chicago. Please follow that throughout the document. Throughout the document. Need to properly organize your headings and subheadings throughout the thesis. Okay. If it needs to be title case for headings, make sure it is. If it needs to be running head for subheadings, make sure it is. Appropriate fonts like Times Roman, I said that it is uniformly to be checked. Then your spacing. If it's double line, 1.5, point 0.5, point 0.5 will not be there, double line or 1.5 will be there. Make sure to check that. Your table and figure needs to be presented in such a way that it's easy to understand. For example, every table of chapter number 3, it will start like figure number 3.1, 3.2, 3. Next chapter 4, 4.1, 4.2, 4. Similarly for the tables as well. Okay, so numbering of the table and the figures should be clearly done. Final proofread, no grammatical error, no inconsistencies. Then give it to your peers and advisors. So with all these mistakes, don't give for feedback to them, because their job is to give you the feedback on your technical content. If so many inconsistencies will be there, they will not be able to put attention on your technical side of the work. Okay, all right. Why we actually do this formatting? Now question is would be like, why? Very easy. So that reader can actually, like, if as a reader I need to go to figure 4.1 and it is on page number 28, I should be easily go, rather than flipping the entire work, I can straight away go to 28 pages. It also tells the reviewer or the reader that how clear you are. If you have done proper formatting of your thesis, how clear you are. It actually, improves the reputation of you as an author and how professional you are in your work. Okay, now that's all for my side. Now we are open for the question and answers. Please feel free to put in your questions, your query. Please, a very warm good afternoon to everyone. Hello to everyone who have typed their hello. The PPTs, the recordings, you'll be getting it in your email IDs. Any doubt, any clarifications you want, please feel free. Guys, feel free to type in any query if you guys are if any one of you are at the stage of formatting, editing, please go ahead and we may discuss that query. Is there any question? Okay, yes, Revati, what kind of assistance can we expect from research if we are registered for? I think during the initial onset of my webinar, I told you, you can get everything like, any kind of topic selection, issue concern, even the editing, proofreading, your statistical, everything, and any problem if which you come across from on your research journey, please feel free to reach them. Yeah. Thank you, Naveen. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Please feel free to type in any questions, guys. Revati, the team can support you in anything which you feel like. Thank you, Deepa. Thank you so much. See, if you would like to reach out to the team, please feel free for any of the queries. Thank you, Business Derivatives. Thank you. Saif, I actually don't understand. I don't know whether it is Urdu or Arabic. Would you mind typing it in English? Thank you, Revati. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Now I told you, Harshita, firstly, you need to get in touch with your university that which particular style of formatting your university wants you to follow. Rest, I will tell you that when you talk about science, no, you generally go for APA one. Yeah. However, you can actually tell sorry, you can ask your supervisor or you can follow your university guidelines. Yes, business derivatives. Yes, we do support. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Sunil. Thank you. I want support in paper publication and thesis writing because I want. Mr. Naveen, I think you better reach out to our team. They will help you with the query. Yeah. How to cite third party from a paper? Shali, you were saying how to say what. So you generally say that according to so and so author, and then you convey what you want to say. Yes, Mr. Prem, this video will be provided to you. Harshita, this entire PPT will be given to you, so you can access to it. You can access to the slide as many times. Okay. If you want, I can show you to the. Yeah. There are many things which we are told from while we are told to take proofreading services. One of them is to make an agreement before we give our paper as a caution. Prakriti, basically, the agreement is to ensure that they will not reproduce your work or that just a that just an thing which we as a supervisor, we as a teacher tells you. However, I can assure you on the research graduate our team, you can be rest assured. However, these things will be done here also. This is basically a professional ethics which is being followed in the industry. So I think your teacher has told you right, and this is being followed everywhere, that this agreement is not to just to get an assurance that your work will not be reproduced. And don't worry, you can, in this way you can rely on research graduate blindfoldly. Don't worry about it. Mr. RC, when you are delivering presentations, you make sure it's for research methodology section, you always go for the past tense. Okay. And when you're talking about findings, similarly, also you can go we found this, we found this. However, conclusion and recommendations, you can go for the present one. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Aditi. Thank you so much, Prakriti. Thank you so much. Research methodology part, Miss Rasi, make sure that you are going for the past tense. Yeah. Any further questions, please feel free to type in. Um, See, this is basically my query, Idris, Mr. Idris. My query is about the citation which used as according to this is applicable. This is basically Harvard style. Yeah. See, when you're talking about MLA and AP style, there's very slight of the differences. So when you'll receive the PPTs, each of the differences you'll get it highlighted in the content. Yeah. So if you see that name separated by the year in bracket, this is Harvard style. Thank you, business derivatives. Thank you. Yeah, don't worry. If you have sent a text to them, the team will definitely reach you out back. Surely they'll reach you out. So you can, elaborate on your query, whatever issue and concern you have. So you will be sorted out on it. Don't worry. Our team is very responding, is in that ways, and we very well take care of the concerns of the students. Don't worry about it. All right, Mr. Prem. I think we in the past also we have conducted the webinar on research paper writing. We'll definitely consider your request. Thank you so much. Thank you. We'll take in consideration. Thank you, Rasi. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, guys. We'll meet in the next webinar. And about the webinar, you'll be notified. And again, I'm telling you that in case you have any doubt and concern, you can reach out to the team. Details are given to you. All those who were looking for any particular references, differences, the PPTs will be given to you, and the recordings will be given to you, and you may refer it to them at your convenience. All right. So, looking forward to see all of you in the next webinar. Thank you so much. Thank you.